Discovering the self beyond thinking. Most people live their entire lives trapped in the mind. Thoughts constantly flow, repeating old patterns, labeling experiences, judging, planning, or replaying memories. This stream of thinking gives the illusion of identity. It makes us believe that we are our mind. But Eckhart Tolle teaches that this identification with thought is the source of suffering, anxiety, and a sense of incompleteness. True freedom lies in discovering the self beyond thinking, in the dimension of pure presence. 1. The mind's illusion of self. From childhood, we are conditioned to identify with our thoughts. Who are you? The world asks, and we answer with our story, our career, our personality, our history, our likes and dislikes. But notice this, all of these are mental labels. The mind divides life into categories, contrasts, and identities. It constructs an I and an other, a self and a world to react to. The ego, the thought-based self, arises from this identification. It thrives on comparison, attachment, and fear. Eckhart Tolle emphasizes, you are not your mind. You are the awareness in which your thoughts arise. The problem is not thinking itself. Thought is a useful tool. The problem is unconscious thinking, where your attention is entirely caught in the mind and you lose touch with the aliveness of the present moment. 2. Why thinking becomes a trap. Unconscious thinking leads to constant noise in the mind. The past and future dominate your attention, while the present, the only moment where life actually occurs, is ignored. When you live through thought, you are rarely experiencing life directly. Instead, you are reacting to images, stories, and judgments created by the mind. You may even develop anxiety, depression, or inner conflict because the mind is always comparing what is with what should be. Even spiritual seekers can fall into this trap. They think about enlightenment, presence, or inner peace, but if the mind is the primary focus, then the experience remains conceptual. Thinking about the self is not the same as discovering the self. 3. The nature of the self beyond thought. So, what is this self beyond thinking? Eckhart Tolle points to a dimension of awareness that exists prior to thought. This self is not an object of the mind. It cannot be described fully by words. It is pure presence, the silent witness behind all thoughts, feelings, and sensations. To access it, one must shift attention from thinking to being. This shift is subtle but powerful. Instead of identifying with the mind, you notice the mind. You realize that you are the observer of thoughts, not the thoughts themselves. This awareness is already complete and whole. It is unchanging, timeless, and free from the fluctuations of the mind. When you rest in this awareness, you experience a profound sense of peace, aliveness, and clarity. 4. Practical steps to discover the self beyond thinking. Eckhart Tolle offers practical guidance to access this state of presence. 1. Observe the mind without judgment. Begin by noticing thoughts as they arise. Imagine standing by a river, watching thoughts flow by like leaves on the water. Do not cling, resist, or label them. Simply observe. 2. Focus on the body and senses. Attention to the physical body anchors you in the present. Feel the breath, notice the sensations in your hands, feet, or chest. Sensory awareness helps shift consciousness from mental patterns to direct experience. 3. Pause between thoughts. Notice the gaps between thoughts, the silence, the space where no mental chatter exists. These pauses are windows to the self beyond thinking. 4. Accept the present moment. Acceptance is a key doorway to presence. When you stop resisting what is, you stop feeding the mind's compulsive reactions. Presence arises naturally in this acceptance. 5. Practice stillness. Regular moments of silence, meditation, or simply sitting in nature allow the mind to settle and reveal the deeper dimension of awareness. 5. The transformative power of presence. When you discover the self beyond thinking, life changes profoundly. Time's freedom from egoic patterns, many automatic reactions, fears, and compulsions arise from identification with thought. Presence dissolves these patterns. Time's inner peace is not something to be attained in the future, it is revealed in the present moment. When you step out of thought, you realize that peace is always here. Time's clarity and creativity, in presence, decision-making and creativity flow naturally, without being clouded by overthinking. Time's deeper relationships, by no longer reacting compulsively to thoughts and judgments about others, interactions become more authentic and compassionate. Presence is not a distant goal, it is accessible in every moment. Even a few seconds of conscious awareness can transform an ordinary experience into a profound encounter with life. 6. Common misunderstandings. Many people think that discovering the self beyond thinking means stopping all thought or escaping life. This is a misconception. Time's thought is a tool, the mind is useful for planning, problem solving, and creative expression. Time's presence coexists with thought, awareness can accompany thought. You can use the mind without being enslaved by it. Time's no force or struggle required, awakening is not an achievement to be earned. It is a recognition of what is already present, the awareness that has always existed beneath thought. The key is not to fight the mind, but to shift the focus from thought to awareness, from identification to observation. 7. The role of suffering. Suffering often points to unconscious thinking. When you feel anxiety, regret, or frustration, it is a sign that the mind is running unchecked. Eckhart Tolle teaches that suffering ends the moment you become aware of it. Even profound pain can become a doorway to presence. By observing the mind's resistance to what is, you step into the timeless dimension of awareness. Pain may remain, but your identification with it dissolves. You realize, I am not my pain. I am the awareness in which pain appears. This insight is liberating. Life may continue to present challenges, but suffering becomes optional. Presence turns even adversity into a teacher. 8. Living beyond thinking in daily life. Discovering the self beyond thinking does not require retreating from the world. It can be integrated into daily activities. Times walking or moving, feel the body in motion, the rhythm of your steps. Presence can be cultivated in movement. Times listening, when you truly listen, without anticipating or judging, you access the awareness beyond thought. Times working, presence enhances focus and efficiency. Tasks become expressions of attention, not burdens of thought. Times interacting, responding from awareness instead of compulsive thought fosters compassion and clarity in relationships. Even ordinary moments, such as drinking tea, washing dishes, or observing nature, become gateways to awakening. 9. The ultimate discovery. The ultimate discovery is simple yet profound. You are not your mind. You are the awareness in which your mind appears. This recognition transforms everything. Life is no longer a battle between what is and what should be. You no longer chase happiness or try to escape discomfort. Presence becomes your natural state. Eckhart Tolle reminds us that this awareness is always here, beneath thought. You do not have to create it, you simply need to recognize it. When this recognition occurs, you experience times freedom from compulsive thinking, times peace beyond circumstances, times joy beyond external conditions, times a sense of unity with life itself. You realize that life is not about escaping thought, but about discovering the still awareness behind it. That awareness is your true self, eternal and ever-present. Closing reflection. Discovering the self beyond thinking is the essence of spiritual awakening. It is the recognition that all thought, all identity, all egoic patterns arise and dissolve within the vast awareness that you are. Every moment is an opportunity to step out of thought and into presence. Even a few conscious breaths, a pause in the mind, or a gentle observation of the body can reveal the self beyond thinking. In the words of Eckhart Tolle, you are the awareness in which all thoughts appear. This is your true essence. And this awareness is always here, always now, beyond the mind. No achievement, no accumulation of knowledge, no external success compares to this discovery. To awaken to the self beyond thinking is to awaken to life itself, the eternal, infinite presence that has always been here, waiting to be realized.